over the past few years, I've gone through what I would call an awakening to what is going on in this reality. Hey, Cotton B-Ball, how you doing, man? And I would say I've woken up to many of the things that I was asleep about in this reality. And one of those things is that we are more than what we look at when we see ourselves in the mirror every day. And that we are powerful beings who are creators. And it is us, talking about human beings, that are the creators and the reason for everything that happens here. Everything that is created from us. The world by us and from us, however you want to look at it. We are the reason why everything happens. The world revolves around us, not money. And I woke up to this and realized that I needed to take my personal power back from a reality that was using it for things that may not have been in my best interest. Now, I want to be really clear what I mean by that. If you have any doubts about your own power and about how important you are to everything that happens on this planet, I want you to look around. I want you to step outside of your home whenever you have a chance and look to see how many things are trying to grab your attention. Go to your computer and look at how many things are fighting for your attention. Drive down the street and look and see how many signs are fighting for your attention. Okay? Because it all starts off with your attention, because your attention is power. Your attention creates value. Okay? I'll give you a perfect example because everybody knows this. Money is not based on anything but trust. Whose trust? Whose trust? The people's trust. Your trust. It is worth nothing if you do not trust it and you do not believe in it and you don't participate in the use of it. It's worth nothing. Even if you say, well, you know, if it's backed by the gold standard, it's valuable. Not if you do not put any value in gold. There still has to be an agreement, even if it's backed by something immaterial or some commodity of sort. It is still needing to go through your approval, because if you don't think gold is valuable, if people didn't have value in gold, then who gives a rat's what money would be backed by? So I use that as an example to point out that there is, once you start looking around and once you start seeing, you'll see this. But you must first believe in the value of yourself. And so once I took that into heart, my life started to change, and I woke up, and I'd like to say that I'm not really bothered by a lot of the things happening in this reality, because I'm fully aware that at the end of the day, none of it is possible if we don't give it consent. See, so right after you have given it attention, the attention is needed so that they can get consent. Once they have consent, then they have you've given them power. One of the reasons why we don't have World War III is because we don't want it. You think that's BS? What do you, when we're about to go to war, what does the president do? He has to come on and he has to convince and get the people's support for it, right? So I'm just giving these very obvious examples to show you how powerful we are. And not only powerful in a group, that's the other thing. I don't want people to, I am one of those people that goes, it doesn't matter if there's a bit large number of people. Hey, what's up, B-Ball? Just on here on Sunday. Just giving my little story here. Yeah, so your consent is important. And the power, people say, well, there's power in numbers, and that is true. There is also power in one. There's also a lot of power in a few. As a matter of fact, when changes are made, it is always the few that do it, and then they end up influencing the majority. The majority never changes. It's always a small number, and even one person has made changes across swaths and span. We had that evidence of that in our country, and we see it all the time. So never think that you're the only person that nothing can happen. Because I will give you this one little secret that I discovered. You have a spirit and you have a soul. And there's a collective of all the spirits and the souls on this planet. And so when a group of people do something, if it is not in the good of the all, the planet, if no one opposes it, that group, that spiritual collective, the higher selves, the spirits of every human being, does not have a choice but to let it go. But if one person decides that they don't want it and they're opposed to it, and it is in line with what the entire collective of human consciousness, spirit, higher selves, whatever you want to call it, if that one person is in line with them, that one person will stop that whole thing from happening. And it has nothing to do with religion or anything of that kind. I'm not religious, and I'm not anti-religious. I know many in our community here are religious, and that's okay. That's totally okay. But this one I'm talking about has nothing to do with religion. Some of us are still religious. We need that in our lives, and that's okay. Some of us are not. That's okay too. Absolutely. Carlton B-Ball just said, we as human beings can speak life into anything. Exactly. That's a power. If we're, many of us just attribute that to gods. No, that is a human power. We can do that. One person can. So I really want to emphasize that. And from there, yeah, I agree. Again, it's quite simple. You're right, Carlton. You're right. Collectively, we can influence positives every day, and indeed, we influence every day, whether we choose to or not. If you're breathing, you have influence on things. If you decide not to do, that's a decision. That's an influence. And why not when you have the power to just decide? Give your consent to something, don't give it to something. Spend your money to support the things that are going to support you, your community, the world, and be in line with what is best for humanity. That's something powerful you can easily do every day. Okay? I want to talk about the power of imagination, because this is the one thing I think needs to be woken up in most of us. Not woken up as in it's not there, but woken up as in shed the deception that has been put over many of us about imagination. When we're born, if we say something or we see something, we imagine something, you'll have a just stop making that up. Stop imagining that. That's in your imagination. And this reality wants us to throw imagination in the garbage. But here's the irony of all of that. When we invent something, where does it come from? When we put something into reality that didn't exist before, and most of the things that we have in our homes and we see didn't exist before somebody imagined it and then created it and brought it into reality. Imagination is where your creativity lies. That's the most powerful thing any human being has. And we're not the only beings in existence, highly intelligent beings in existence. There are many others. Not all beings have the power of creativity. We do it without even trying. With the power of our words, we create. Not all highly intelligent beings can do that. So imagination. You see the word M-A-G-I, magic, magi. Look up what a magi is. We are all magis. We all are super creator beings. Just look around the planet. Take credit for everything on this planet, whether we consider it good or bad. It's not being created by anything else or anyone else but us. The good and the bad. Because once we do that, we can go, I am not going to sit here helplessly thinking that these things are being done and there's nothing I can do about it. Just simply with your thought. You see something that is not healthy occurring, you don't have to go out there and march on the streets all the time. There's power in that, but there's also power in removing your consent. Not just sitting there, oh my God, there's nothing I can do about it. No. Say within your mind, I don't like that. I remove my consent from it, and I want it gone. And that message goes out to the universe. It is heard. It is heard, and it is counted. And if enough of us do that in a way that is creative and beneficial for this planet, for the universe, it will come to pass. We do it all the time, but we tend to give credit to something else for it. We tend to give credit to gods and other people and other things, when in fact, it's an aspect of us that's doing the work. But our spirits understand that at this level, we can't accept. That's the key. We cannot accept our power. So our spirits allow us to just do that and then still does things and creates with our power, even though we're giving that credit to something else. But once it's brought to your attention, you have to start accepting your power, because that's who you are. And power is not a bad thing. When done with a clean heart, with love and compassion and gratitude, that's when power becomes a beautiful thing. But when it's done, wielded from the ego and the look at me, how should I say, scenario, that's when it becomes out of control. That's when the ego is out of control. So I really just wanted to go on here and talk about the power of imagination. And not only the power of imagination, but the power of one in their imagination to move things. Every great book talks about this, or every written book. If you're a Christian and you don't believe that, well, you should remember what Jesus Christ said, that in these days you will do greater works than me. Jesus Christ said that. Even though I'm not religious, I like to, I'm not ignorant of all that is going on around me. And so we see that all the time. Remember, just do this exercise. It's simple. If you're living, breathing, you're going to work, just look around. How many things want your attention? How many things are looking for your consent? How many are looking for your cooperation? And that's a hint and a clue to the power that you have within you. That's the power that you have within you. And start using your imagination. It is not silly. It is not to be put down. If you've taken your imagination and you've tossed it to the side or put it on the shelf, dust it off, pick it back up, and start using it. Use it. You know, you don't have to create the world's next great invention. Just use it where it's more powerful in everyday simple things. World affairs, current events. Hey, I no longer want children abused, raped, and kidnapped, and child trafficking. I no longer want that. Use your imagination and say, I no longer want that. And however that happens, and it can be imagined, that's what I wanted. And I want the best thing to come along, the most benevolent thing to come along. That's a way to use your imagination. It's very easy. How many times do you say, oh my God, look at this happen? And how can people do that? Use your imagination to say, you don't have to know exactly what the right answer is, because you are powerful in your being. And there are aspects of you that are above your conscious mind, above the brain, that when that message is sent, goes to work. And we don't have to know how that problem is going to be solved. We just know we want it solved in the most benevolent way possible, and it's all good. And forget about it. You keep doing that exercise every day, and you'll start using the power of your imagination. Don't worry, don't worry about how it's going to get solved, who's going to do it, how it's going to happen. There are forces, I said, that are above the level of the brain and the mind that go to work when we want that desire. And again, just look around how many people claw and scratch to get that out of you, while at the same time telling you that you're not worth anything, paying you minimum wage, telling you this, telling you that. At the same time, they're scratching and clawing for your attention, your intentions, and your consent. Everything. Every organization, every business, everything. Social media, everything. Even I'm doing that right now, right? I'm doing it in a way that I feel is benevolent. I'm doing it in a way that I want us to start really taking control from here. Not just from here, but from here. And we don't have to go out and talk about it or demonstrate or do all that. But once you start getting a hold of it from here, you'll see a difference. And you might see that there are things that'll try to, in the mind, that'll tell you, no, you can't do that. That's when you know it's working, when you get those voices in the head. And trust me, when those voices in the head come, you stare them down and you clear them out. And I have techniques, and I can send you stuff where you can start using the stuff to clear stuff that doesn't serve you, that gets in the way up here. Okay? And look, I thank you for your time. Thank you, Carlton. And all those that are watching. You may not comment, but I appreciate your time and your attention. It's important. And remember the power of your imagination, the power of your spirit. Because once you do that, you'll wake up and see a lot of things that you didn't see before. And if you have, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, thank you guys so much. Have a lovely, lovely Memorial Day. And until next time, I'll start doing a few more lives here in the community. Thank you for being a part of it. And see you guys soon.